where we're headed is it, oh well, let me ask this question. Is anybody a fan of advertisements that pop up in your web browsing history?
No.
Yes, you guys can leave now. Everybody else, you can just stay. So I'm going to show you how to block that. And I'm also going to, if we have time, show you how to allow it. If there's a site that you want to support and you don't want to give them money directly, but you want to allow their advertising through, you can do that with what I'm going to show you. So we're going to block internet advertisements, not just on one device like what you get. All of your devices, there are plugins, computers, tablets, phones, they're blockers and they run on that single device. And they're great, they're good, not great, they're pretty good, but they don't always get everything. What I'm going to show you is something that as long as you're at home and you're on your internal Wi-Fi, everything's blocked. Phones, tablets, if you even play games that have advertisements that pop up, those often will get blocked. It's kind of funny. See this white screen that pops up, what the heck is this? You just close it out. So it's actually changed the way I browse when I've been traveling, my family's here, and from out of the country actually, and when I travel and go to any other place where I'm not on my home network, I forget how bad it is and how bad it can get and how frustrating it is to just try to read that article. So that's what I'm here to show you. And there's multiple ways you can do it. The way I'm going to focus on, well, I was going to focus on, because everything went to crap before you guys got here, so I had to redo it real fast. I was going to show you how to do it through a Raspberry Pi. We're still going to talk as if it is a Raspberry Pi running, but I had to build a virtual computer on my machine to make it actually run correctly. So it's a little different. Some of the things I'll show you will be a little different, but this is the device that I had running, and it actually works fine. It's a networking issue internally. But this is a Raspberry Pi, and as we mentioned earlier, our sign back there is running one of these. And this thing is just a computer that's a board. Now, I'm going to pass it around, but I ask you to be careful. Don't touch inside. If you have any static in you. Well, I'm out $25, so it's not that bad, but I'm going to pass it around so you can see it. This computer has an Ethernet port on it, USB ports, 4 in this case. The one in there is quite different. It has an HDMI port. It has the Courage jack, as everybody keeps calling it, the headphone jack that they took out of all our phones that I'm upset about. Power, and that's it. This happens to be in a case. I'm going to keep it in part of the case. I just want you to be able to see the inside of it. Instead of using a hard drive, it uses a micro SD card, things that we have in our phones and our cameras, and it actually runs really fast. I was surprised. This is a Raspberry Pi Model 3B Plus. Is that correct? Did I get it? Okay. I was surprised at how fast it ran. I could see myself using this as a regular computer. It runs Linux, Debian specifically, but it has a user interface on top of it that's actually pretty easy to use. If you're familiar with Windows or Mac, you could pop in here and figure out where you're going pretty quick. But this is how the project started on a Raspberry Pi. That's why I wanted to focus on it. And I'll pass this around if you want to see it. I know you already saw it.
Ask Davey Roush if that just answered one of his questions.
Did it? Put
Did
you on
that
the
just
spot.
answer one of your questions, Dave?
I don't remember.
He doesn't remember.
I don't remember the question.
Okay.
Kevin, can you repeat those 3 numbers after Raspberry Pi? Is a
Well, actually, I'll show you. I'll do you one better. So the model that I was just showing you is this guy right here. Raspberry Pi 3 Model B Plus. There's a Model B, there's a Model A, that's a Raspberry Pi 2. There's all sorts of versions. If you want the latest and greatest, just remember B Plus, and you'll have the latest and greatest. Because I don't think is there a Raspberry 2 B Plus?
No, but there's an A plus.
Okay, that's confusing.
3.
B plus, and you're fine then, right?
The A has a 4-core processor.
Oh, what does the B have?
Single core.
Single core.
I believe.
Oh, that's interesting. So is the A more powerful?
It is.
Oh, I'm going to go buy another Raspberry Pi.
Fewer external ports.
Okay.
Just for sale then.
Yeah, it might be for sale, yeah. Already has the software running on it. So you're good to go there. But if you go to raspberrypi.org and you kind of spend some time here, you're going to see a lot of really neat stuff. How I got started is I went to Micro Center, I bought something, and they said, it's kind of like fries. Do you want fries with that shake? Hey, would you like to add on a Raspberry Pi 0W for $5? Okay. And then I did it again and again. All of a sudden I had 5 of them. And the reason why I kept buying them, first of all, they were $5. The reason why I kept buying them is I found different uses for them. The first one I bought, I said, let me install a web server and see how that works, and it worked great. So my nephew came over and was playing Minecraft, and I really wasn't happy with him being on public servers and talking to other people, so I built a Minecraft server in our house. And then the third one I forget, the fourth one I forget. I did a bunch of stuff. And the ideas came from this website, raspberrypi.org, among other websites. They talk about projects over here. It was built originally to teach kids to code. The story's pretty interesting. They only built so many because they thought, well, we might sell a few. Well, millions now? They've sold millions of of course I own 6 of them, but they sold millions of Raspberry Pi devices because they were just so neat, the things that you can do. There's Raspberry Pis in space, doing scientific experiments. There's Raspberry Pis in universities. I read a story about some being on the back of trash cans, and somebody reported it. They were doing something with it. It was pretty neat. But dig into raspberrypi.org and then branch out from there. But that's where I would start if you want to know more about the device that we're talking about. The models are also listed there under products, which is this next page I was on. And there's a bunch of them. And you need to talk to Ken about which one's the best one, because I thought I bought the best one, but apparently I did not, sort of, kind of. Okay, so there's a bunch of them here, and the 0 is the one that's running that sign. You could actually do it with any of these. The 0, if you do go down the route because you say, wow, $5, that sounds like a good deal. Hold on. You have to buy things. You have to buy a power supply for whichever Raspberry Pi you need. And you can use older phone cables, but I don't recommend that. I actually burned out a Raspberry Pi doing it. So I bought the official Raspberry Pi. Well, it doesn't say it, but this is the one that works with it. And it looks like our old phone chargers. So buy this. This was like $5, so now we're up to 30. You have to have a micro SD card. Micro Center has a sale on them right now. 16 gigs was $2.99, and 32 gigs was 50 cents more. So I bought 32 gigs, because why not? You can get 64, 128, whatever you need. You really don't need a lot of space unless you start using it as a real computer. Then you might want to get a larger capacity. But this, I absolutely recommend getting the correct power for it, because I have burned one out. So you'll need a micro SD card, you'll need a power supply, you'll need the Raspberry Pi. Optional is the case, which is what you guys are seeing right there. It's part of the case. I disassembled it a little bit. With the 0, you need more. You need a converter cable. It's, I believe, called mini HDMI to full-size HDMI. You can't plug it in anywhere. It only has one. You have one on you? It only has one micro USB port on it. So you need to get a micro USB to full size. It gets so complicated that if you're really serious about buying a Pi, just get the 2 or the 3. Don't get the 0 right off the bat. My recommendation is just go for that guy. So, makes sense? It's just a computer that we spent $25 on, plus some change for other things. Need any clarity on that? Okay. So, you buy your Raspberry Pi, and I'm going to show you right now. Micro Center has them on sale. This is the one that I bought, and it's normally $35, so it's $24.99. But they have these kits here. So this guy includes the Raspberry Pi, it includes the power cable, it includes actually heat sinks. I'm not really sure that you need heat sinks on it, but that could be fun. A case, which is just a very basic acrylic case, and doesn't look like it has a micro SD card. So you could go down this route for $40, then add your micro SD card and not have to worry about all the things I told you about. Microcenter.com. A lot of these are on sale right now. Okay?
Kenneth,
Yes.
this looks like a plain Jane box. It's not built by Microsoft.
It's not, no. It's
Who built it?
Raspberry Pi Foundation. Is that the name of the group? Yes, Raspberry Pi Foundation.
So it's a nonprofit group that
It is.
sells this?
It used to be nonprofit. Is it nonprofit still?
I believe it is.
Yeah. Well, let's find out. So, raspberrypi.org, they should have something about us right there. UK-based charity, so it is nonprofit. So yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Looks like some of these times we're going to be able to get our club member to do a 3D printer demo. I bet you could make a Raspberry Pi case like that.
That would be really neat because you could do whatever you want with it. That would be really neat. Actually, they have Raspberry Pis that are connected together in what's called a cluster that does higher level computing. So they don't have cases for that. So that would be, oh, I'm going to buy 10 Raspberry Pi Zeros for $5, 50 bucks out, print your case, and you could have a cluster at home, cluster server. There's lots of stuff. If I keep talking about it, I'm going to people are going to get scared and walk away. But yeah, raspberrypi.org is the place you want to go to learn anything about it. And they also have the models here. And this is where you go to download the software. There's two ways you can go. You can download an image called Noobs. Play on newbies, right? I tried this. It was easy, but I had to do more work than I liked. So what I actually used was this other image called Raspbian. They're both actually Raspbian. But when you download this, it gives you this single file that ends in IMG. It's an image file. You need to take that single file and move it to the card, but also have it spread out over the card. So I'm going to show you a tool I used. It works on Macs, PC, Linux, cross-platform. That is not the right tool, but that is close. So this is the company. Let's see. This guy right here. It's called Etcher. You download the application and you just follow the prompts. Let me show you what it looks like. So here's the app. It says select an image. It's talking about that IMG file. Also, if you've ever downloaded an ISO file, if you've ever tried anything like a different operating system or Microsoft says download Windows, it usually comes as an ISO. That's an image file as well. So it's asking me to choose my image file. So I click this and I just pick wherever it is. This is the image file. See that .img? I know it's really small, sorry. So .img, I click open. I insert my card. In this case, I have an SD card slot on my computer. If you don't, they have all sorts of adapters you can buy at Amazon or Micro Center or wherever. The micro SD card that I can actually show you, that I bought came with an adapter because my plug, my hole is quite a bit larger. I can't even hold it. It's just so small. So I have an adapter that this slides into, and it slides right into my computer. Or if you buy an external, something like a reader, you probably need the adapter as well. But basically, you need to get this to show up on your computer. You need to plug it into your computer somehow. Once you do that, you select the drive, which is this one right here. Now, I don't have it plugged in, so it's smart enough to know, hey, connect something. I don't have the adapter, otherwise I would show you. And then you click flash. It does all the work for you, and it also verifies that everything worked correctly. And then you just pop this out, and it's as easy as plugging it in the correct way on board, so you have to make sure it's the right side up. But, see it? Pins down, plug it in, power it on, and off you go. And then when you start up, just like any operating system, when you buy a new computer or install a new operating system, it'll walk you through, hey, what do you want your username to be, your password? Where are you located? Where's your time zone? Those sorts of questions, it just walks you right through it. It's very, very easy. But this app has been a lifesaver, not just for the Raspberry Pi, but for many things I've done. So this is the website, and it's called Etcher, if you want to write that down.
B-A-L-E-N-A?
Yes. And I didn't spell it on purpose because the last time I did, I kept spelling it wrong. Kept saying B-E or B-A or I forget. I was reversing them. But yes, B-A-L-E. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Is that easier? B-A-L-E-N-A Etcher. Great little app.
.com?
It's BALENA.io/Etcher. And let me do this.
Whoa.
So let's make this big.
I was gonna say, you're faster than I am.
Oh no, I'm doing that on purpose. This is the website. Can you see that all right?
Yeah.
A little bigger. Okay, so that's what you need to get started if you want to put it on a Raspberry Pi. You can also install it inside of a virtual machine, which is what I had to do today because everything failed before the meeting. I was kind of freaking out, but it worked out. So there's many different ways you can do it. If you have a spare computer laying around that you don't use, you can plug that in. And it'll do the same thing. It actually might run a little faster than a Raspberry Pi, but honestly, I haven't seen any slowdowns at all. So you don't need anything high-powered. Nothing high-powered at all. Okay, so Raspberry Pi downloads, kits, and then I wanted to show you, this is a friend of mine. He has a personal website. His web address is kind of strange, so I'll do the same thing I just did. But on his website, he has, wow, that's longer than I thought. He has this amazing guide for the Raspberry Pi. If you're a newbie, getting started on the Raspberry Pi for the first time, there's a lot of weird things that can trip you up. His guide is very long. It is not light reading. I have a much smaller guide for the Raspberry Pi Zero. If you decide to go that route, I will happily share it with you. I made it real pretty, easy to read. But this has been an incredible resource for me, and that's just one of many that are out there on the web. And he really knows what he's talking about here. So if you want to learn a little more about that, that's his website. Okay, so let's install it because it's pretty. Oh, I'm sorry, you had a question? Yes.
Did you want to say anything about one of them being HTTPS and the other one not being S?
It's not really relevant, but HTTP versus S is just a secure website versus non-secure. It doesn't matter for what we're doing. Yeah. No, it's a good question. Okay, so let's install this. Super easy. This is my Raspberry Pi. I'm connected to it. Typically, you have it plugged into a keyboard and a monitor, mouse, and then you'd be sitting in front of it. So let's pretend that we're sitting in front of an actual keyboard, monitor, and mouse. And I go to piehole.net. The name of the application is Piehole. It's the internet black hole, is what I call it, or the internet advertising black hole. It is a network-wide blocker, and this is how hard it is to install. You just go to the website, and you see this big install button right there. You click that. Does everybody know how to copy and paste on their computer? See that command right there? That's a script that will do everything for you, most of the things for you. So you just copy it, and then on the Raspberry Pi, to run a command, you need to use the terminal. If you're a Windows user, you've probably gone to the command prompt before, and you could type things maybe you've never been in there, but it looks similar. It's this right here. And that's exactly what it looks like when you first install the Raspberry Pi, Raspbian software. So there's a web browser, files, and then terminal. So I click this, and I'm going to paste it, and then enter. And it's pretty quick. Now, I'm going to let it do what it needs to do after I answer a few questions, and I'm going to show you the product actually working. So first things first, it's telling you it's going to turn this computer into a network ad blocker. You really need to make sure that this computer has an address that doesn't change. Are you guys familiar with IP addresses? We talked about it last month, but every computer that's on your network actually has a physical address or an address of where it's located. So if I need to find something, I can get to it. Google.com, Bing.com, Apple.com, whatever website you go to, they have an actual address. And in this case, let's find out what one of them is. So, if I wanted to go to Apple.com, I go to my web browser and I type Apple.com. However, there's something going on in the background here. That conversion is called DNS. See what I did there? I typed an actual number. There's the number, and then I hit enter, but it was smart enough to change it to Apple.com. DNS is domain name service. Some people call it domain name server, but it's, from what I've read, it's actually DNS server. It's a phone book of the internet. If you want to go to a website, like our website here, you type in the actual words, and it redirects to the actual address. So if I just go to apple.com, it would have known that that was the address because of DNS. Why is this important? The Raspberry Pi is now your phone book. It's now your DNS server. It's going to do all the lookups. And because of that, it has a directory of domain names, apple.com, Google, whatever, that it will not allow through. So it blocks all those internet advertising websites. You click that link that says add, and it goes to one place and then jumps to another and another, and you finally get to wherever you wanted, especially on Facebook. That first time it jumps, it's stopped, it's blocked. Because the DNS server on the Raspberry Pi is now your global phone book. It pretends like those things don't even exist. So, it's important to make sure, as I was saying earlier, that the address on the Raspberry Pi is the same. We're not going to delve into that today, but first things first, this is kind of like the old DOS days where you tab and you enter and you use your arrows to go up and down. That's how you're going to get through all these different screens. So I'm already on OK. You notice that OK is in red. I just hit enter to accept that, except you have to actually be in the computer. There we go. Pi is a server. It needs, I just told you this, it needs a address that doesn't change. I run this without changing the address and it does work, but every network at home, work, wherever you are, it hands out these addresses, and then if you're gone for a while, it could give that address to somebody else. That's why it's saying, hey, make sure this thing doesn't change. Tell that guy that this is you, always you. You're always at this address, this physical address. So it's just warning you that you need a static IP address. I click OK. And then in this case, I have two interfaces. You won't have that. So I just click OK. Now, it wants to know, these are all DNS providers that are on the internet. Your local phone book only knows what it knows so far. But on the internet, at the very root, the very top level, there's these servers running that has every single address for every single website out there. It's asking, which one do you want to use? It doesn't really matter which one you use unless you're concerned about performance. If you want to make sure you're using the fastest one, are you guys familiar with Steve Gibson? Some of us are. Website grc.com. This guy is amazing. A lot of times he talks over even my head, so get on there. You may have some trouble kind of figuring out what he's talking about, but there's an amazing program that finds the closest DNS server to you. This is it. DNS benchmark. The very top one is always what's internal, but after this I can see that this 204.194.232.200 is the next fastest. So that's what I want to use. If you really want to get into it, this tool, available for free, but it's only on Windows. So if you have a Mac, you have to find a Windows computer. This is not necessary. This is just an extra step to make sure, because that list, I mean, there's not much on here, right? But which one's the right answer to use? It doesn't really matter in this case. I prefer these guys. I can remember it. I can remember some addresses, especially ones that start with 1.1.1.1. Very easy to remember for me, right? Google, that's Cloudflare. Google is 8.8.8. There you go. So I pick the ones that I can remember. It's really up to you. So I like the 1.1.1.1. I'm going to pick Cloudflare. It doesn't matter again, but I'm going to pick Cloudflare, excuse me. Now, all of this are all the options you have. I want all of them. I don't want any ads if I can avoid it. So to get to the OK button, I hit the Tab key. Hit the Tab key again, it goes to cancel. Hit the Tab key again, it goes back to the top of the list. So Tab, make sure OK is red, and then hit Enter. This default is OK. Have you noticed the trend here? Except for that one screen where we pick the DNS server, I just keep hitting OK, OK. I don't care. Just go on, move on with it. It doesn't matter what you pick. Now this is important. So it's telling me that this is my physical address on the network. 192.168.1.125. Actually, I don't need it for this demo, but I took out my phone and took a picture of it. Make sure you write it down or do something because you're going to need it. And you say, okay, yes. Again, I haven't changed anything. And it's warning me, hey, this was automatically assigned. Make sure you tell that guy that you're keeping it. Yeah, whatever. Hit OK. Do you want to install the web admin interface? It's asking if you want this. Yes, you absolutely want this because it's so much fun to look at this and see how much crap is blocked. I average in my home network, lately it's been over 30% of the traffic is blocked. But I average anywhere from 20 to 30%. Which means 30% of that junk is staying off my network. Guess what my spouse said to me?
Thank you.
Sort of. What did Spectrum do to the internet? It's so much faster
You
now.
didn't even get credit.
No, I didn't get credit for it. I said, it's not Spectrum. They're not interested in making it faster for you. But that was the comment I got after a few days. So it was noticeable. So you definitely want this so that you can go back and show your significant other. This is why the internet is faster, because this little guy over here is doing its job.
Well, that's a high percentage, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Sometimes it can be higher. So, you know, it just depends on your what you browse. So, do we want to install the web admin interface? Group? Okay, so tab to OK, hit enter. And then, do you want to install the web server? Again, yes. Stop asking questions. Yes. Show me everything. Yes. And then it does its thing. Now, while it's doing this, I'm going to show you the interface. So, in your web browser, any web browser of choice works. You type in that address. We took a picture of it earlier. Ignore the one I'm using because it's different than what we just installed. But 192.168.1.118, that's all that really mattered. At the end of it, we put a /admin. Even if you forget to do that, it'll say, hey, silly. I'm imagining it saying silly instead of idiot, right? Hey, silly, did you mean to go to the admin panel? Yes, I did. Thank you very much for reminding me. So right now it's very basic information. I want to know a little more. So I go to login, and one of the last installation screens gives you a password. Please do not click through that. Even though I'm telling you, yes, accept the defaults, just read it before you click. Because if you don't get the password, now you got to go through a weird way to reset it. So I did that. I took a picture of it. Here's that screen I was telling you about. Hey, make sure you copy this password down. And it's random. It could be anything. So once again, I'm going to take out my phone, take a picture of it to make sure I've got it, and then I'm good to go. Good thing is it gives me the IP address as well, 192.168.1.125. Now I can click OK. And the installation is done for the server. There's one more step you have to do, but let's explore this guy a little bit. Okay, wait, need the password. So here's my password. I'm just gonna paste, I don't care what it is, paste this in, log in, and just in the, what time did we get here? I finished this server at around 2:30. So since 2:30, it has blocked 965 requests, and it's blocked 13.8% of that traffic. I'm sorry, 965 queries, 133 have been blocked, 13.8% of that traffic's been blocked. I haven't even really been surfing the web that much. But your computer's going out fetching things all the time when you don't know about it. So it's already done its job. At home, it's actually, I could show you that if you wanted to see it, but at home it's actually way more impressive. I've got all this data. I started using this device back in February. I have 0 complaints. 0. I absolutely love it. It is a project that they don't charge for it, but if you can afford to, donate to them. Please do. Send them something. Because I don't want this thing to go away. I did my part. So if you can and you use it, just donate to them. It's an open source project. So logging in, you can look at all the fun stuff going on and, you know, really see what's actually happening. I'm going to show you what the blocked web pages look like.
Does it block indiscriminately, or are there some more prone to blockage and some that aren't prone to blockage?
It has a big list that it blocks from. As a matter of fact, let's do this. So there's a lot of different things you can do in here, but I'm going to go ahead and force an update because I'm going to show you exactly how many it's blocking right now. So the updates happen automatically. I believe it's every 24 hours. But in this case, number of domains being pulled in. So there's 137, 134 domains that are blocked. And it's just its internal list that it's blocking.
Do they add to that list on a regular basis?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's say we want to blacklist something. Let's say I wanted to block, I hate Apple maybe. I don't know why, but whatever reason. John, you might be blocking Apple, right? So put it in apple.com and block them, and then guess what? Can't go there. Or you can do the opposite. If there's a website that you want to support, for example, local newspaper, Newark Advocate, they do have ads on their site. That's how they make some of their revenue. It is annoying, but if you don't subscribe to the paper, maybe you want to unblock that, I can go to whitelist and type in the domain that I want, whatever it is, and add it. So you use their list and you can create your own as well. That answer your question? Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's lots of stuff down this left side that you can play with. We're not going to cover that today, but I did want to show you what it looks like. So this is Newark Advocate, and you'll notice that ad content. What? There's no ad content there. What's all this? Blank space is good. It is a good thing. It means it's doing its job.
It takes no time to load blank space.
No. No, that's why the internet appears faster. Columbus Dispatch, same deal. They have a lot of junk in here that gets blocked. See, this is even getting blocked. I don't know what that is. Here's something that was in here. So, Business Insider, here's another one. Lots of empty space here. Empty space. Getting blocked. Forbes. Oh, I gotta refresh this one because I wasn't blocking it before. Forbes, well, I guess that's not considered an ad. Maybe they're getting through, but Forbes.com, a lot of stuff is going to be blocked on here. You might see gray boxes, you might see a frowny face inside of it. Those are fun, because then I know I'm getting them. Yes, it's blocked. Windows Central, a lot of ads. Sometimes you'll get pop-ups. You guys see that? I can't make it bigger. You are blocking my beautiful adverts, you swine. Fear my near limitless wrath. Go ahead, try it. You're not going to get anywhere, but these are just, here's a site that has ads above every single one of these. Ads should be blocked. There's nothing.
So at the moment, there's no way that these people who promote ads can get around this Raspberry Pi device.
They're fighting back and forth. They get through, then they're not, then they get through, then they're not. I've seen better luck with this than I did with Purify, I think was what one of the blockers was called.
What about ad blocker?
Ad blocker was another one. I actually had several running on my iPad because not one didn't do everything, but it updates, I think every 24 hours, but it updates regularly, and I never really run into it. Ads do get through every once in a while. Sometimes they use something that's not on the list, but you know, one ad versus all the others. Yes, sir.
So am I to understand then that if you block, say, Yahoo website, it only blocks the ads that comes through there?
Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo. Does Yahoo have a lot of ads? I never go to their website, so I'm not sure.
That's because you're a tech guy.
Well, they've been hacked a few times, so I'm not really happy with them, but I assume this is probably an ad. See, there's something there. Oh, I don't like this ad. No, it looks good to me. I'm very happy with that ad. So, yeah, works on Yahoo. Still, I can get to Yahoo, but all that other junk is blocked. The missing piece that I haven't told you is, and it's different for every scenario. So if you guys get involved in this project and you want to deploy it at your house or play with it or whatever, you can come out to Know More Tech. You can actually bring your computer if you want to. But at the router level, so everybody, we talked about this last month, every internet service provider has a modem. And a lot of times the modem serves as a switch, a router, a Wi-Fi access point. All that stuff's kind of built in. And that's okay. But what I showed last month was all this gear, and I split it up. So here's my Wi-Fi. Here is a network switch. I can plug in more than one device. But this is the star of the show. This is the router. This guy is what hands out all those addresses. You connect to your Wi-Fi network with a phone or a tablet, you get a unique address. Inside of that address, it gives you more information. It gives you a subnet, which basically divvies up the network. It tells the network how many addresses it can have. You get a, I forget what it's called now, a router address. So in this case, it's 192.168.1.1. And then the key component here is, in order for me to use this ad blocker on our network, because it's not installed automatically, I manually changed my DNS server to .118. You can do that, and it's as easy as, so right now it's 1.1. I click add on the Mac. Oops.
What am I seeing on the big screen that you're not seeing on your screen?
It's probably because it's so small. This guy right here.
Yeah.
Is that better?
No, I was just looking at the password there.
Oh yeah, that was the password I saved for this Raspberry Pi.
Okay.
Let me get everything out of the way. But this is the address of the Raspberry Pi block, the Pi hole technically. It's not actually a Raspberry Pi. This is what the router gave me, but I want to change that. I want to use the Pi hole. So I type in the correct address for it. You can do that on every single device if you want to, not the easiest thing to do. What I did is I went to my router. Every router has a way to configure it. Has anyone ever jumped into their router? 192.168.1.1. Passwords, probably admin.
Yeah.
If you haven't, bring your router in. I will happily play around with you on the router and we'll figure it out. But this guy, I've already configured it. I can't use it because everything wasn't working, but I already configured it to show 118 as the DNS server. So I don't think about it. I just plug into the network and everything works. The last missing piece is configuring this guy to do it automatically for you. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Last piece that the software doesn't walk you through is just this, and it's different for every single home environment. And then you're off to the races. And believe me, you will be so much happier with the amount of ads it blocks. I'm thrilled. I can't say enough good things about it.
That's magic.
It really is.
It's magic.
Yes, sir.
By the way, the IP address that you're talking about, that you're reading here, 192.168, that's internal address. That's
correct.
the network address. You have to find your external address Is that correct for this thing to work?
No, no, the router's gonna do all the magic behind the scenes. For the DNS, you mean? To
No,
change this?
for, you said that this thing that you're putting in has to have your IP address. Doesn't that have to be your external address?
Nope, all internal. Yeah, there's nothing external you even have to worry about, because this is the one that's worrying about it. When I said static address, is that what you mean? Make sure you set an address statically. The answer is no, there's no external address. It's all internal.
Where is the Pi connected to that router?
Well, anywhere you want. I have a switch here with 8 ports.
No, just bring it through the modems. Show us the modem.
Through the modem? Well, can you pretend this is a modem?
Okay, we can do that.
So, pick a port, except for the WAN port. Pick a LAN port. And then Raspberry Pi, plug it in. It can be anywhere, it doesn't matter. As long as it's internally on your network.
Now, you're plugging it into the modem, not the router.
Well, you want to make sure it's inside your network. So, the modem plugs into the router.
Suppose you don't have a modem, you just have a router with a switch.
Well, you have to have a modem. The router might be serving as both.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah. So if your modem is a router and a switch and everything else, if it has multiple ports on it like this, does yours have that?
Yep.
Just pick one of the ports.
Okay.
That's it. I just broke this.
Well, you can't blame us.
Hey, you know, it was $5, so whatever.
No.
I might be able to fix it.
What other points do you need to do
Nothing.
to round it up?
Nothing. I'm all done. Just taking questions now.
Oh, I got a question.
Yes.
You said that's only for Windows?
The DNS benchmark?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
That program.
nothing for Linux?
Nothing, not from GRC, no.
You don't
It's
need
not
that.
necessary. It's more of a, oh, I just want to see what's the fastest thing and go from there.
Linux, you don't get all these pop-ups, do you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you still get ads.
Because you're going out on the internet.
I'll do that later. Yeah. It's just that one tool that's not even necessary, but I thought it would be good to at least show if you wanted the best performance possible. It's a quick download and off you go, if you have Windows.
Okay, everybody, if you did not understand at the very first, this man's name is Kenneth Tubauch, T-U-B-A-U-G-H, and I've been trying to get us to be better about learning each other's names. That's the reason I wanted to say it again to you. And we all really thank him for bringing this information to us today, don't we?
Yeah, pretty cheap.